Hello and welcome to That Man, and today we're looking at Sony. Because Sony's been a bit weird as of late, censoring a lot of their Japanese anime ecchi titles. For the children, apparently. Yeah, apparently children are being bought Senran and Kagura, and they're discovering things about their bodies that they did not know. Or school or their parents haven't had a conversation with them. But that's not right. Apparently children can shoot each other in a online video game. They can cut open animals in graphic detail. They can just go on a murderous rampage with God of War. But if you buy anime boobs, then no, that can't happen. Yeah, it's almost as if we don't have an age rating on these things, and it's almost as if by looking at the covers you can't really tell what these are. I don't know what that is. I mean, that could be anything. That could be some kind of, that must be like a ping pong game or something like that, you know. This is obviously the new iteration of FIFA, because obviously people can't tell. 16. Wonder what that means. That must be, you must have 16 friends in order to play this game. Let's have a look at the back. Shoot! Get wet! The newest entry in the Censoring Kagura series. It's time for a busty water splashing battle. Busty water splashing battle. That's obviously some kind of Fortnite thing. I don't understand it. I'm obviously a parent and I'm too old to understand this. Peggy info. 16. Bad language. Yeah, that's fine. Sex. Well, it's a ping pong game anyway, it doesn't really matter, does it? So basically Sony are censoring things because parents can't be bothered to look at stuff like that. It reminds us of that time when Nintendo released Professor Layton on the Nintendo 3DS, and a lot of people complained that it was on the Nintendo 3DS, despite it saying about 5 or 6 times on the box, only works on Nintendo 3DS. It also says basic reading needed to enjoy this game. So people failed on all kinds of fronts. So is this really for the children? Or is there some kind of agenda from Sony? Because they only seem to be going after Japanese titles. I mean, one of them they censored so much it went from an 18 to an E for everyone. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of publishers aren't happy. A lot of them signed an exclusivity deal with Sony. Obviously Sony saw like the Nintendo Switch and the Microsoft consoles and their Steam and stuff like that, and they was like, yeah, we'll sign a lot of stuff, we'll make it exclusive. And then they've then turned around and said, you can't release this in this state. Like stuff like Senran and Kagura has had this the mini game in for about 10 games. In fact, I think on this one it even says on the back it's the 5th anniversary. So how's it getting that far that they've managed to bypass all these things, including on the Nintendo consoles, but now it's an issue all of this time later? Even worse, apparently they're not even telling them this information in English. It's quite worrying. At the end of the day, Nintendo seems to be fine with it at the moment. They're like, it's all for global standards, and it's like, well, Steam and Nintendo and Microsoft seem to be okay with it. Their censoring issues are a lot more relaxed. And this is Nintendo, the people who kind of censored Mifa in the upcoming Super Smash Bros. But then went, it's a new costume for her in the game, so you can't really complain. And I'm not gonna lie, I quite like that idea. We've censored it a little bit, but just so you can't really, we'll give you a new free costume in the game, so she actually does wear that outfit. It's insane. But the thing that worries me, Sony's censoring a lot of anime based stuff. Imagine what would happen if Sony bought Funimation. Oh dear. Oh dear. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've played these games. I enjoy them because they're stupid, and I'm obviously a little bit biased. There are a lot of people who will be offended by this content, but they don't have to buy it. And this being on the shelves doesn't affect the sales of anything else. In fact, actually it would. If Sony is censoring stuff like this, I'm assuming they are censoring God of War. I haven't played the new one because I haven't had time, but the first few ones were pretty graphic in terms of nipples and stuff like that, so I'm assuming that is going to be censored in the new one. I'm assuming the whole thing's censored. I mean, Kratos is wearing a top, so you see man nipples, so I'm assuming that they're gone. So yeah, how's it okay to censor some things but not others? I mean, at the end of the day, Red Dead Redemption's came over a lot of controversy where people were offended by seeing animals being skinned and cut open. That's allowed, but oh god, I might see some anime boobs. You know what the worst thing is? The thing that really upsets me is that the ones who are going to lose out are going to be the publishers and the developers. At the end of the day, I was going to happily buy Senran Kagura 2 for a revamp or whatever it's called for the PS4. Now they've censored it, even though it's a censored mode that I don't even play, except once or twice for maybe the trophy, I'm still not going to buy it because I don't agree with the way Sony are handling it. And Senran Kagura developers aren't happy with the way Sony are handling it, so why should I pay for that? And at the end of the day, if it comes out on the Nintendo Switch, I'll support it on there, but on the other hand, they aren't. And it's not them, they're going to be the ones who lose the money when people are like, well, I would just buy it used. And it's like, well, it's not Sony. Sony doesn't care. Sony are big enough to just do this. They're obviously big enough to just go, yeah, buy Japan. It's like, yeah, buy Japan. So, at the end of the day, Sony don't care. At the end, personally, this is stuff like this is like me saying I'm not buying any more Sony games. And then I kind of thought, well, what's Sony got coming out? Coming Kingdom Hearts 3. That's about it. And I kind of feel that's what Sony's doing. They're like, well, there's hardly anything else coming out, so a few people not buying these games isn't going to make a big difference. At the end of the day, if you were object enough to it, buy them pre-owned or don't buy them at all. Buy this on the Switch or buy it on Steam or whichever alternate way you can do it. And the whole thing is like, show them with your money, and it's like, well, at the end of the day, if people don't buy Senran Kagura 2 or whatever it's called, the developers are going to be the ones losing out. Sony might lose a few quid here and there on the license and stuff like that, but that's about it. They don't really care, and obviously it was a big enough decision for them to wipe all of it out. But yes, for the children, 16 and up, clearly little Timmy's being bought Senran Kagura for Christmas as opposed to God of War or Spider-Man. Quite shocking really, and really disappointing from Sony. I really hope they change it. I really hope they change their mind. I mean, Sony have done that on quite a few things recently. They've done something ridiculous and a few months later they've kind of overturned it. I really hope this is another case of that. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you for coming and thank you again for staying. Goodbye.